Welcome to WholeCEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in mindset, weight loss, business, and more. Learn our top tips so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, feel unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable. Her writing ranges from educational to fiction, best known for her study on emotional intelligence as a multinational leader presented at the Union Global Compact Committee. She loves writing, consulting, and teaching, has spent her business life encouraging others through her academic career, including being a campus president for National College and founder of Intelligence Solutions. She then followed her passion for writing as she lives a peaceful life, raising her 3 dogs and living with her husband, Dana. Welcome to the podcast, Rhonda Parker Taylor.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to a good discussion about how we can become better professionals and be more genuine to ourselves.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. Do you want to just jump in with your story and what inspired all of this?
Sure. Well, it started probably even in elementary school, believe it or not. I was one of those people that was shy but social.
Yeah.
And I didn't do well academically at first.
Right.
Took a teacher. I had to pass a English proficiency test, and I flunked. Just a great. And this little 98-pound woman said, "I'm going to tutor you over the summer." And she tutored me over the English proficiency test. I passed.
Awesome.
And so really the destiny of being in academics all started there, even though I didn't know it was. It took one mentor. It took one person that just took an interest and said, you can do this. And from there, I went to college, I got my associates, I got my bachelor's, got my master's, and then turned around and got my doctorate.
Wow.
So it started, though, with a 98-pound English teacher that wasn't going to allow me to fail.
I love how you had a good mentor, the power of a good mentor. That's like amazing, isn't it?
It is. And what happens when you find those mentors, and it may be a different one at different seasons of your life, you find that there's a strength within you that sometimes you're not even recognizing.
Yeah.
And it started then. Then I started working in academics and in teaching other youths, college age young men and women, and that was kind of my coming of seasons for that moment. But
right.
As life does, you end up with chaos and tragedy, sometimes adversity.
Right.
And I stepped back. What in my case, it happened to be the death of a young man that I had taken guardianship of. He had grown up and he started working, and he was in a workplace violence act that took his life.
Oh my gosh.
Same age group, though. He was working at a bar as a bouncer, and it was the same age group as what I was working with. So I had to totally redefine myself again, because being around that age group was painful for me.
Right.
So I had to turn around and re-prepare myself, rethink my life, set out positive activities for myself, and turn around then and say, okay, what are you going to do for the next season of your life? Yeah. And I started Intelligent Solutions, which was mentoring people that wanted to go into college, struggled in college, helping them become a stronger student and overcome their adversities. Then I did write Crossroads in the midst of that turmoil when I was taking that time off. And Crossroads is a fiction novel, but it basically is about a young woman that's a workaholic that is totally unaware of her inability to see her life. She thinks that because that's her core value is work and excellence, that she's balanced, and she's totally out of balance, as I'm sure you see in your own clients.
Oh, absolutely. And I love the idea of overcoming your own adversity and then helping other people, because I started this podcast in 2020 because it was hard for me and I knew it was hard for everybody, just to help people become unstoppable. And so I guess that was based on your life. And then now you have found peace and balancing family life and career. Is that correct?
That is correct. Now, like everybody, you still struggle and you find out you're missing out. So for instance, let's say someone wants to start this program of kind of a health and balance and getting everything back in order. Well, I found the very first thing is, okay, I had a very practical way of doing it. Of course, 1/3 of my life needed to be career, 1/3 home, 1/3. But then I really wasn't getting any joy.
Yeah.
And so I had to say, wait a minute, well, what are you doing in those hours? Well, I found out when I was in my home life, I may have given me my time, but I might have been watching television.
Right.
And when I started evaluating what the things were that I really enjoyed, television was like the 20th on the list.
Me too. I agree.
And so then what I ended up doing is thinking, well, what is it that you really enjoy? I love nature.
Yes.
And I have 3 acres. So, starting spending more time out with the animals. And we're lucky because we get all kinds of critters, not just the normal squirrels and stuff like that, but we get coyotes coming through. We get foxes that we can see. And then, then you have your squirrels. And if you feed them peanuts, they will come.
Right.
So, just spending time and walking and talking to the people you enjoy, and then you start seeing this progression of joy, not only just balance, because you can balance. I love cooking, but I wasn't cooking. I was you eat out all the time. So, when you find this joy with the balance, that's when you kind of come full circle to yourself and you're really inventing yourself.
Did you recommend that the audience is taking notes and just make a list of the top 10 things that bring you joy, to find that elusive, always constantly a struggle, work-life balance?
Right. Is it a puzzle? Is it whatever it might be that brings joy to you? Are you doing it in your life? And are you doing it in your partner's life? And what's missing?
And also, too, I want to touch upon some great quotes of yours that I read that inspired me. I mean, anger is cruel and envy makes the bones rot. Do you want to go into the inspiration behind any of those quotes?
Sure. So my father always said, never compare yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter fair. Because we can point out all day long what's not fair. But if you're always comparing yourself, you're robbing yourself of your own life.
Right.
So comparison leads to a variety of emotions: anger, fury, inability to function sometimes, and obviously jealous and envy. So anger is cruel, but you can get over anger.
Right.
And it can be overwhelming, but jealousy and envy stands over everything, because once that's innate to your inner self, it destroys you. You can't enjoy your own life. You can't enjoy the person you're envious of. You can't enjoy, if it's a career envy, then you can't, perform at work, or you're envious, or you may even take, and like I did in Crossroads, I use those quotes in Crossroads, even though it's a fictional novel. But in the case of Crossroads, the character is so envious, she starts doing, first it's childlike things to trip the person up. But then it became more and more and more almost to the point of, and then it became violent.
Wow.
Because I mean, it is a fiction suspense thriller.
I
You have
hope
that,
so.
but at the same time, you have to look at it and say that happens.
Yeah.
Shoot people, anger, yeah. Fury, yeah. Jealous. Why are they angry or fury? Probably because they're jealous, or maybe someone has something that they want, or whatever. So anger is cruel, because it is cruel to you,
Yeah.
and be overwhelming. But nothing stands before jealousy, because when jealousy gets within the core of your own being and character, then it does make the bones rot. And that's actually a proverb.
Wow.
So he makes the bones rot is a proverb. And it's, and proverbs are in most religions as a book, a religious book. And so envy makes the bones rot, and it's like a cancer that spreads to where you no longer function until literally the person you are intended to be dies.
Wow. I've heard it said before that comparison is the thief of joy, but isn't there sometimes like a good point of envy or jealousy where you see something that you want to rise to that level and get there yourself?
Yeah, if you're not taking it to your core value. Think about it. You can say, oh, I want this, I want to achieve this,
Yeah.
but then be prepared, positive, disciplined for it. Find a mentor, find the lessons you want to learn from things you've had in the past, maybe that you didn't do well, learn from others. And then that envy isn't like destructive.
Right.
That you can elevate to your peer group and your peer levels, and you can get a coach to get the skills that you need to be a better performer in whatever that particular desire or goal is. But without those, then you can't even have the persistence not to give up, because if you let envy take you out from the very beginning, then you end up where you don't ever get to the part of succeeding. So it's whether envy is a motivation to be better,
Yeah.
or whether it's a motivation of destruction, where they have it, they got it easy, they got lucky, they did this, they did that, and
Yeah, that's negative. Yeah, that's not going to get you anywhere. I just think sometimes that if I'm envious of something, then it shows me what's actually possible. But I do agree that it is, the comparison is a thief of joy. So it's such a fine balance. And then one more question. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tolerance and understanding and forgiveness, since we're on the topic of envy and not letting it rot your bones.
have grace. Tolerance and grace are huge. People are going to make mistakes. We're human.
Right.
Having tolerance, whether it be a mentor or a peer group, or even siblings, or people that work for you. If you want to develop others to be their excellence, and also develop them to want more, not only out of themselves, but their community and their society, then you have to have tolerance for where they are in their life. Many a times we will hear statements like, well, it's their fault they're at this position in their life, or this place in their life, and they may have made bad decisions. But at the same time, maybe they didn't have the mentor. Maybe they didn't have the opportunity. Maybe life has just been rough on them, and they haven't had that chance to soar and grow and spread their wings. If you have tolerance, then you can understand where they're at. Yeah, you can go to the Maslow's law theory of motivation and all of these other excellent theories. But if that core value, that very low, they don't have safety, they don't have air, they don't have water, they don't have whatever it might be in that physiological aspect of their life, then how can someone that maybe be self-actualized and doing well judge? Because they're not in that same situation. You can give them $100 steak dinner and they may not even have the right to go utilize it as a motivational or reward at work. How about, do they have groceries in the house? Do they, do they have a ride to work? What about Ubers for a week? If they're having to take Ubers to work, how do you make people's lives where you're developing them, you're supporting them, but you're not making excuses if they're not accountable for their action? Because you want people that are accountable, but you're supporting that core value of you can if you want.
Right.
And you take the right steps to get there. And mentoring is a big part of that.
Well, I love that kind of leadership that you're talking about lifting others up without judging them. So many times people can't suspend judgment and they're always looking at someone else like, why can't they do this? And why can't they do that? Thinking from their own values of, I'm a go-getter, I do everything right. But I think it's only by suspending judgment and not really knowing where they're coming from, what their issues are, that you can lift others up. So I think, is there any other last final thoughts you want to leave our audience with on the right kind of leadership?
I think the right kind of leadership is one that realizes that life is tough and people go through things. So if you're going to be a leader, you have to know when to push, when to pull, when to support, and when to let go. Even in crossroads, there's a point that you have to make a decision, and that crossroads might be stay, develop, or leave. And those are decisions leaders have to make. And in some cases, it's like the gambler where you put back good money after bad. You have to be willing to cut, and it doesn't matter whether it's leadership in your own personal life, work, or church, or community. It's all the same. You have to have healthy boundaries. If you're crossing all the boundaries in a negative or a non-positive way, you're going to get negative and outcomes. So if you hold on too long to things out of loyalty and it's not the right fit, and you're not finding the right fit for that person, whether it be at work or home or whatever, then you're also going to hurt your own plan for yourself, because you can't achieve it when you don't have the right fit or you don't have healthy boundaries.
Those are all excellent tips. Rhonda Parker Taylor, where can people find more of you?
Well, they can go to my website, rhondaparkertaylor.com. I'm on Amazon if you want to read the book Crossroads. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of them is Rhonda Parker Taylor, so it's pretty easy. Rhonda with an H, though, not an RONDA. And I hope to engage with other people. I'll be glad to ask any answer any questions that anybody has. I really appreciate you having me this afternoon. It's a beautiful day and in Indiana, and I wish everybody well.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thanks for coming to WholeCEO with Lisa G. After over 20 years helping people lose weight and get fit, I'm so excited to announce that I found the missing link with my coaching. Message me if you want to learn how to look better, feel better, and go faster with a master. Lisa G at lisagfit.com.